You recognize him from countless movies and several TV shows. Joining us now is actor Lou Diamond Phillips to talk about his new show, Longmire. Hi, Lou. How are you today?
I'm excellent, Pamela. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I was looking at your list to try to come up with all of the movies that you were in, and it's literally 3 pages long. Between all your movies...
Yeah, you don't want to do that. It'll put you to sleep.
Well, between all your movies, what has been your favorite?
You know, I don't have a favorite. I've been very, very fortunate that a number of the roles that I've had over the years not only stand the test of time, but they were a blast for me to do. And you know, they've become classics in a sense. You know, certain films of mine. I mean, there's La Bamba, Stand and Deliver, Young Guns, back from the early days. But then there's Courage Under Fire, the big hit. I was nominated for a Tony on Broadway with The King and I did the national tour of Camelot. So as an actor, I have been constantly challenged and have constantly found great joy in the many diverse characters that I've played. And I have to say, Henry Standing Bear in Longmire is hopefully going to join that list as one of my favorites, because it's unique, it's interesting, it's cultural, it's quirky, and I'm just incredibly proud of what we're doing on this show.
And tell me a little bit more about the show. I actually saw a preview when I was at the movies this weekend. It showed, so I have seen a little bit of it. But what can people expect to see?
Longmire is a contemporary Western, but not a Western in the sense that Gunsmoke, was set in the Old West. This is set present day in Absaroka County, Wyoming, which is fictional, and it's based on the series of mystery novels, the Longmire mysteries by Craig Johnson. The most recent one, As the Crow Flies, actually debuted at number 17 on the New York Times bestseller list. So it's this rich, rich world of Americana, of the big open spaces in the Wild West, where contemporary crime, prostitution, drugs, murder, illegal pot grows, that kind of thing are happening. But you're looking at an old school, old-fashioned sheriff, who does things, his way, and has been doing them, his way for many, many years. My character, Henry Standing Bear, is his best friend. We grew up together. I'm godfather to his daughter. And I'm very often his sounding board, and at times even his moral compass. So there's a wonderful relationship between these two men who have lived a lot, who have seen a lot, and who are basically, trying to keep the peace and serenity, in a very wild setting.
Now, Lou, I have to ask, we've seen you in so many TV shows, guest starring on Southland, 24, Numbers. You're everywhere. What's the difference between a TV role versus being in a movie as far as demand on you?
Well, it's interesting because it used to be like when I started in the industry, feature film actors didn't do television. That line is so blurred now, except for a very few handful of people. People are popping up on television left and right. And I think we actually, not to be too highfalutin about it, but we really are in a golden age of television where the writing is as good as anything you'll see in a feature film, many times even better. And you're looking at Academy Award-winning actors appearing on television shows. And obviously the audience is the one who benefits from this. When you're on a series like this and you have an ongoing story, now mind you, we have a different crime every week, but these are the same characters whose relationships are getting deeper, and we're revealing more about their past as we go. It feels just like a feature film because you are telling one long story, 10 episodes for this particular season, and you really live there for a while. So as far as that's concerned, there really is no difference.
And I have to ask you, I know it was so early in your career, but La Bamba is personally one of my favorite movies. Did you sing at all in the movie?
I did not sing in that film, actually. The soundtrack was recorded before I was cast, and I literally was cast the Friday before rehearsal started for 1 week before I started the film. So all of the music was recorded, and David Hidalgo from the Los Lobos is the voice of Richie. Obviously, since then, I've sung on Broadway. I used to have a band, the Pipefitters, back in the early 90s when I still had a mullet. And, I also did the national tour of Camelot. So I've done quite a bit of singing since then. However, I always hasten to add that I don't call myself a singer because I know far too many people who are really, really good at it. I can carry a tune in a bucket.
Well, you are a very talented actor, and we are really looking forward to your show. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Pamela.
And you can catch Longmire on A&E. It premieres Sunday at 10 o'clock.